Welcome, I'm Elle. I upload content every other Saturday. Today we will add to the home series. I'm going to share with you pieces that I've created / revamped for our home. If that sounds interesting, please fulfill the purpose of the subscribe button and click on it. Also give this video a like, I would really appreciate it. Let's get into the video. I've talked about this multiple times, but all the pieces in our home are secondhand from family members or friends, or items we found on. I used inspiration from Pinterest, items we had already lying around, and my design background to add a unique touch to these pieces. I didn't have tons of experience before starting these projects, but I love creating and learning new things. If I can figure it out, I know that you can. If I can figure it out, I know that you can too. So the first piece I ever created was a decor piece that we have hanging in our bedroom, and it's made from leftover wallpaper scraps from when I was in design school. I just kind of cut them in the silhouette of a mountain range and then pasted them to the back of a cereal box and put it in a secondhand frame. The next thing that I created was pillows for our bed, and I should say throw pillows for our bed. And these I also created from leftover fabric scraps that I had from design school, or if the pieces were discontinued and they were large enough to turn into pillows, that's what I did. And then I just went and got IKEA cheap pillows to stuff them with. The next item is the dresser that I use for my clothes. It was a piece originally from my grandmother. I didn't do too much to it because I already really liked the wood finish, but I just kind of taped out triangles and kind of got that idea of the design from Pinterest. And then some of the spaces I sanded, some of the spaces I painted with like a light blue paint that we already had from painting our back kitchen wall, and then a couple other paints that my aunt had for a beach project. I really love how this turned out. Another decor item that I created was the clock that we have hanging in our kitchen. So my favorite number is 4. So that's why the 4 is the only number painted, or I guess I should say not painted on there. And the piece that I actually used for that is a game board piece. I internshipped at TerraCycle, and if you guys don't know what TerraCycle is, they kind of find ways to upcycle material that most people would throw away. And I believe that was left over from another project that we had going on, and so I was like, can I take this home? And they're of course like, sure. And so for a really long time I didn't know what I was going to do with it because I was already cut round, and I was like, why would I not make a clock out of it? And so I used the same paint that we used in our kitchen and also on the dresser, and I just taped out and painted everything else, and then drilled a hole through the middle of it and created a clock. Back to our bedroom, another piece that I created in there is our headboard. So I had seen on Pinterest where someone created a headboard where they bought, I think it was like 3-inch molding, and then they put like a 45-degree angle on it, and then they had white ones, and then they had unfinished pieces and kind of alternated that. And so I really liked that idea, but I already had a headboard from my uncle, and so I was kind of trying to figure out like what I could do with that. And I had the light like tan paint that I ended up painting still around, and I was like, wait, I could just sand this, because that headboard was originally kind of like a darker finish like the wardrobe. And so I was like, I can sand this down, and I didn't like sand it perfectly, so it looked a little more distressed as well on top of the paint. And then I just taped out the design that I just taped out, excuse me, you're okay. I just taped out the design that that person created using the wood trim, and painted in the areas I wanted it to be like the white finish, let's say, and then just left the natural wood in the places where I wanted it to be the wood finish. So the nightstand that my husband uses is actually a table from work. It used to have, so it used to actually be flipped the other way, and it had a big round tabletop that was a whiteboard. When we no longer needed that at work and we couldn't find a place to reuse it, I brought it home and I took that piece off and flipped it the other way around. And then for a period of time I actually had like an IKEA serving plate on top of it, but then recently got the idea to use sisal rope, and my husband brought home leftover plywood that we cut into the diameter that fit the top of it, because it does have like this large hole at the bottom, and so, or I guess now at the top. I like that because we store stuff in there, and people probably don't know that there's anything in there. And so we then put a handle on it, so since we're storing stuff in there, we can easily take that off, the lid off, to put stuff in or take stuff out. And so then I just used hot glue and sisal roped all the way on the top, and then like a little bit on the side. Then for our living room, my aunt gave me a basket that she was no longer using. I had seen quite a few basket lights kind of on Pinterest, and I had been searching high and low for a basket that I really wanted to use because I didn't want to damage something and then not like the way that it turned out. And so when she showed me a basket she was no longer using, I was like, oh yeah, I really like the shape of that. And I already had the pendant lying around. My husband actually found it on a job site that he was cleaning out. I do think eventually I want to spray paint the pendant because it is white, but I feel like it doesn't really go with the dark wood tone of the basket. But I really enjoyed that project because it was so simple. It literally took us, it actually probably took me longer to figure out how I wanted to cut the hole in the basket than for my husband to drill through the basket. But I really like the way that that turned out. The last piece that I've created to date, is in our bedroom. It's a wardrobe piece that was originally one of my family members. I don't know if it was my mom's or my aunt's or my uncle's, but it was somebody's. Let's just say it was my grandparents. And at some point someone had painted it white, but it was like this really nice wood, as you'll see. And so I sanded it back to its original finish, just put a clear high gloss polyurethane on it, and then I painted the door and the one drawer with like a teal paint, and I made it like a chalkboard paint, and that's something that we're hoping to use when we have a child, but we're currently using it now just as additional storage. Probably the most intense piece that I've worked on to date, but it was totally worth it. So the next project that I have going on is the table that we use as our coffee table. My husband got that at a job site. The woman says it's originally from Italy. I didn't really look into that. I don't see any markings on it, so I couldn't really figure that out. But it has basket weaving for the shelf underneath of it that is starting to come apart. And so what I'm hoping to do with it is I'm gonna pull that basket weaving out and then I was thinking of finding like a really bright colored yarn or like cable that's will hold up pretty well, that I can pull pretty tightly, and like weaving that back through. And that's probably all I'll do to that piece, because I do already like the wood finish, so I probably won't change like the finish of it. I just want to kind of add like a fun pop of color that will kind of be unexpected, because you won't probably see it till you like sit on the sofa. So yeah, so I really just like having pieces in our home that we've kind of made our own. I think it's a fun way to really express your style, your personality. I think it's also a fun way to kind of just refresh items that you already have in your house, so then you don't have to go and purchase new items, which is something that I'm all about. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sure you've seen my assistant roaming in the background today. Oh, yes, yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and click that bell for notifications. Say bye. We'll see you in the next one. Do you want to go out?